Okay, good morning, Facebook viewers. My name is Tom Lowy, and I'm a reporter and columnist from the Galesburg Register-Mail. I'm happy to be joined today. We're talking about kind of the history of video gaming and the rise of video gaming in the state of Illinois. And I'm joined by Don Moffitt, Republican representative from Gilson, District 74, for 24 years, if I'm correct.
Correct.
Thank you for joining us this morning. You know, we contacted...
Thanks for the coffee.
Oh, you bet. My pleasure. You know, one of the reasons why we contacted you is because you're kind of a witness. You took office. You won your first election in '92 for this office. Mm-hmm. So you took office in '93,
right? And
so you've seen kind of an evolution, a certain portion of the evolution of gaming in Illinois. Is that correct?
I have. It certainly has changed over time and what the emphasis was, and probably there were things that were unpredictable.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about when you first came to office. What was gaming like in '93, '94, and in that era?
The main discussion then was about riverboats. How many should we have? Should we expand it? And I basically have not been in favor. I felt that was not a good thing for society, and that we had better ways to generate revenue. That was basically my concern for what kind of social impacts it would have.
Right.
But there was always the debate on how many riverboat licenses we need, and they were very competitive to get, and that was the beginning. And of course, we've had the lottery issue over the years.
Right.
And I think it was sold initially on the lottery that it was going to really do so much to help education.
Right.
And the profits do go to the Common School Fund.
Right.
But some years, then some other money that had been going in was taken out, so it was kind of a wash at times. The profits went in, but there was everybody, I think, thought initially that would help. It'd be additional revenue, new revenue above what it had been. That's separate from what you want to talk about now. But I mean, every time when it's gaming, whether it's riverboats, whether it's a lottery, there's been some controversy around it. And does it do what it was intended to do?
Some debate.
That's right.
So we get to 2010, 2011, and you start to see the push for video gaming. Tell me what your thoughts were then as far as video gaming.
Similar to what they had been, I was concerned about the social impact, what negative impacts it would have, and that it would be taking money out of our communities, that people willingly going to gamble, but spending money on maybe that they really didn't have to spend, they couldn't afford. It was taking away from other needed money for family, for food, for clothes, for education. So that was just a concern. And so I did not favor it. Eventually, near the end of my service, when we started including local governments, I did vote for some of that because local governments were in need of revenue.
Right.
So, it's like to improve conditions in terms of local government. Hopefully, some of that money would go for public safety uses, but it would be determined by local folks, local government. And I trust local government to put the money where it's needed in their communities. So I did vote for some of the expansion on video because it was going to hopefully help local government. So that was a change. And I'll tell you, with what I have seen our local governments use it for, I'm impressed that they're doing the right things for their citizens, trying to help. The other thing you need to keep in mind, had they not got that additional money from gaming, they might have had to raise taxes from other sources, including property tax. So even though property taxes are still higher than we want them to be, it's in some communities, the gaming has helped prevent it from going even higher.
Right.
Now, ideal would be maybe if it could even help them lower it too, but that's a local decision.
Well, and that's something that you talked about. We talked about kind of before we started this video, is the fact that gaming is going to stay here, and so we're looking at a lot of money, and then property taxes are a very serious issue, and the escalation of property taxes, especially over the last 2 decades, I think has really been felt by property owners. And so if gaming's going to stay here, it's definitely a way to help people on the property tax side. And one thing that you talked about quite candidly was, although it would be a little bit of a hill to climb, you'd like to see more revenue going towards local governments. Is
Absolutely.
that correct?
I think they should get a bigger percentage of the proceeds from gaming. There's no reason they couldn't, and I think they should. anyone else that's on the receiving end is going to fight that probably. But I think it should go. That our local governments should get a bigger percent. Then they can decide, is this for fires, for police, public safety, or anything?
Right.
But it'll be a good decision. It'll be a local decision.
Right.
And I think that if that could be increased, an option should be that they could use it to abate or lower some of the levy on property taxes.
Right.
Local decision, though.
Right, absolutely. And local decision is important. You said very clearly at the top of our interview, because it's local communities that are contributing and are impacted by both positively and or negatively by video terminals, right?
Right. It's both positive and
Right.
negative, absolutely. And so it should be a local decision how it's used. It's even a local decision if they have the videos.
Right.
But the video gaming is going to take money out of the willingly given by the people
Right.
that want to gamble. So from that community, it's less money that's going to be there to be spent on other businesses.
Right.
When it goes for gaming. So I think it should be for benefit. If that local community does not have video gaming, some of the people probably will travel to other communities
Right.
and spend that
Absolutely.
money. So again, local decision if they even have it, but if they have it, I'd like to see them get a bigger percent
Right.
of the total cut.
You retired in 2017,
Right?
and I'm tempted to. What do you miss most? Is it the day? I'm betting it's the day-to-day communication with people. Is that what you miss most?
Absolutely. That's a big part of it. I do miss the interaction with constituents, and I'm talking to people in the district.
Right.
And every once in a while, you go to Springfield too, and that's where you try to get some things done for your district. But I do miss the busyness, the interaction. Issues come up, and try to work towards a solution. In government, at state and federal levels, I'm concerned that there's been kind of an increased emphasis or tendency to not be seeking a solution, not to be seeking common ground.
Right.
And that's what you got to do to really serve the people and solve the problem. Try to build a consensus, try to get to a common green point, probably give and take, but to actually get to a resolution of the issue. Whether it be budget, look at the budget
Right.
problems we have.
Right.
Neither side, there are no winners when we have
Right.
budget impasses like we've had
Absolutely.
the last few years.
Right.
No winners.
Right. Well, we certainly at the Register Mail have always appreciated your time and your efforts and your candor. And thanks for talking to us about video gaming.
It was my pleasure, and every year I went into the legislature, into public office for the legislature with a huge respect for the importance of the free press, and that respect just grew and grew and grew as I served. We need a very active free press to make sure all the story gets out. And also in the interest of full disclosure, in case it shows, we're at Hardee's today. I drink coffee at other places too, like Innkeepers and McDonald's and
Right.
the various places around. So
You know, we chose Hardee's because we thought it was going to be quiet, and boy, were we wrong or what?
But it's good coffee and a
It
good
is.
biscuit.
It is. Thank you, Don Moffitt. I really appreciate your time. So does the Register Mail.
Thank you.